You know, a lot of y'all out here have said that me and others who have defended Bill Cosby that we did it because we're looking for a father figure. A lot of us already have fathers in our lives, and even if we didn't, that wasn't the reason. A lot of y'all speculate because we were black, somewhat because of it, but we know our history. We know what we've observed. But a lot of y'all don't realize, especially you youngins, don't realize what Mr. Cosby is representing, what he's done. The other day, Vlad TV did an interview with Tamila, what's her name? Jones, whatever the bitch name is. And he also did an interview with Bill Duke. And he's done other interviews with Godfrey and other people. And he's been on this thing like other whites in the media and some blacks to keep destroying Mr. Cosby's legacy. And I keep telling y'all, if you go back and you're honest with yourself and remember what happened within a few hours, a video of Hannibal Buress telling a joke that we later come to find out was written by Judd Apatow. Within a few hours, all the television stations, the morning shows was talking about it, which was weird. Because usually I could see if it happened later in the day, they say, oh yeah, because enough hours had passed. But early that morning, that was considered breaking news, a joke. And then immediately white Hollywood came out and started throwing allegations and making jokes and stuff about Bill Cosby. People that Cosby helped or people who said they was close to Cosby either defending him or threw him under the bus. Or people who had limited interactions or what they say a negative interaction with Cosby that had nothing to do with sex start chiming in and gave cover. But I told y'all it was something more than this. I said it was things that they did that was against the law. They changed rules. Now let me say this. If you're a white person and you deem Cosby guilty, you're a racist. No way around it. Because you ignored all the history and you didn't pay attention to these women ever changing stories. If you're a black person, you got a lot of self-hate and you got a lot of stupidity in your heart, in your mind, excuse me. You worried about what white folks think. If you're indifferent, you're a danger to the community. Let me read this. The kids on the Grapevine video are young and don't know Cosby history. His son was killed under the most suspicious of circumstances at the time he tried to buy NBC. Many people saw it as a warning. Fast forward again to 2013 when Bill Cosby tried to put together a media buy, and presto, all these allegations came out of the woodwork. Did he really do it? Maybe. Probably at least with some of these women. But whether he did or did not is separate to the question of whether the process that convicted him was fair and within the law. In my opinion, it was not. This especially so when the evidence was given that the alleged assault happened well past the statute of limitations. Some the judge in the case forgot to properly instruct the jury about and one of the grounds for Cosby's appeal. Never mind the fact that there was a real question of whether the trial judge should have reclused himself when one considered the fact that Cosby's lawyer got him into trouble a few years ago for having an affair. Look at the actual grounds for appeal. Trial Judge Stephen O'Neill allowed testimony from other accusers who had nothing to do with the case. Go already, at least Bloom pushed that. O'Neill refused to allow Constantine to put on witnesses who had given sworn testimony to Constantine planned to shake down Cosby and lure him into a relationship to do so. O'Neill allowed a juror to remain on the case after others testified in sworn affidavits that even before testimony began, the juror proclaimed Cosby was guilty. Despite compelling evidence presented by defense attorney Thomas Mesereau that appeared to show that the statute of limitations had expired on more than a decades-old case, O'Neill refused to rule, instead asked the jury to consider it, which they did not. O'Neill didn't disclose an ongoing feud he had with former district attorney Bruce Castor, who convinced Cosby to waive his Fifth Amendment rights and sit down for a deposition. In exchange, Castor agreed that the deposition could never be used against Cosby in Pennsylvania criminal proceedings. The deposition was a primary tool used to convict Cosby, which a lot they took out of context and a lot of the media misreported. That's when they keep talking about he gave Quaaludes, but it was but that wasn't what he gave her. It was Benadryl, and I ain't never heard Benadryl knocking you out like that. O'Neal refused to recluse himself after it was discovered that his wife donated money to a women's group that protested against Cosby. Several jurors were allowed to sit in judgment of Cosby despite revealing that they were neighbors of court officials who had personal relations with detectives in the case. O'Neal was only allowed parts of Cosby's civil deposition to be admitted as evidence. What I remember was reported in the media, right? And remember what they used that to browbeat black people, say, well, Cosby was lecturing you on the rights and wrongs and virtues, but they took his words and everything out of context. That's why I tell y'all gotta read between the lines. Admitted as evidence after defense attorneys argued that it shouldn't have been admitted at all. They also argued that if the judge was going to admit the deposition, he should allow the entire 87-page document to be presented to the jury for context. White women or not, Cosby was hard done by. You can say karma caught up with him if you like, but you cannot say he was fairly tried. Now, I got this, one of my subs have put this link up to this. And y'all might have seen it in the comment section or something. But I had said this for years, that the stuff that they was doing was against the law. They changed the rules. Now, I don't think Cosby raped these women. I don't think Cosby was intimate with these women, a lot of them. I think that maybe one or two Cosby had a relationship with years ago. And maybe, just maybe, he had tossed some dollars in their direction. But I watched these women give different interviews on different shows, and it wasn't consistent. And Gloria Allred and the media knew it. That's why they went and they found black women. Beverly Johnson come out of the woodwork, and she lied. Let me tell you, I knew Beverly Johnson lied, and this was and this is what y'all gotta understand. The Cosby Show premiered September of 1984. Beverly Johnson said that Bill Cosby was casted for the Cosby Show in 1982. Really? All the stories we heard about that he wasn't looking for models. You think he was? I mean, can y'all really bought Beverly Johnson being a Claire Huxtable type, a supermodel for the type of show he was putting together? Fuck no. This show premiered 1984. Now, some could argue, well, it was in post-production. It takes time. Oh, yeah, okay, y'all believe that when y'all believe anything. And if Cosby and her he did promise her the cast in his show, whether it been a Claire Huxtable type or Denise Huxtable, whatever part that she's supposed to be going for, if you knew this man drugged you, why didn't you go to the police department? Why didn't you tell a doctor or tell anybody that you knew? Well, guess what? At that time, she had a reputation as a supermodel. She was a bed hopper. People forget back in the 70s and 80s, motherfuckers was doing cocaine like motherfuckers do ecstasy and weed now. If Cosby broke a promise, she could have easily destroyed the Cosby Show before it got started. The white woman that supposedly ran for a part. If Cosby raped her, she could have really put a whammy on Cosby back. Because remember, when Cosby Show premiered, Cosby was in his early to late 40s. Think about that for a second, my friends. The white woman that was on CNN, like Delma from Scooby-Doo, she said that he raped her, he drugged her, she was paralyzed. She saw him insert his you-know-what into her mouth. Why didn't you go to piece of the other this black man? This is 1960s America. Remember, they killed Malcolm X and Dr. King and Medgar Evers, and black people couldn't move in certain neighborhoods. They was rioting. You mean to tell me nobody would have believed her? They would have believed Bill Cosby. And they keep saying he was powerful. Not the Cosby even of today. Cosby was just finished I Spy and was about to do the Bill Cosby show. That don't mean he had power. And if he did do that and you was awake and you was aware of it, why'd you go back to him? That's not rape. That's you trying to get on a show or hook up with a Negro that got a little money. You knew he was married. You could have easily said something about his wife to his wife. Then you had the one that said she stuck in the Playboy Mansion at 14. Hugh Hefner, how can you get past Hugh Hefner security? Hugh Hefner had been doing Playboy for a minute. He had been doing the show. He had a mansion. He had the Playboy mansion in Chicago. He had moved. He went to California. Now I could have sworn he moved to California in the mid to late 70s. 1974. I think he was still living in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Now I could be wrong, but the fact remains, she said she snuck in. I'm pretty sure Hugh Hefner got video security. If they got video of him in the 1960s, I'm pretty sure in the 1970s, they damn sure had video. And I'm pretty sure it would be noticed like, who are you again? What did you do again? You wasn't in a Playboy. How'd you get in there? And if she did, people would have noticed a white chick pushing up on a married man, Bill Cosby. Don't even get me started about the bitch that said she wanted Tonight Show. He raped me in our dressing room. Let me say this again. Tonight Show was at that time was still in New York. You had a predominant white cast or production team. Excuse me. You mean she was so afraid she couldn't go tell somebody on the floor director or a page at Rockefeller Center or whatever and say, he raped me, to come to find out Cosby wasn't even in town on that day she said it happened. But the media still treated it as it was the truth. That chick that recently said, the one that got caught, said that she snuck in the Playboy Mansion too, and Cosby had his way with her, semen was all over him and everything. It was just, and I'm like, really? So, Mr. Cosby, who was having sight problems, eye problems at that time, he did this and nobody knew. Knowing that that's Bill Cosby's walking around with a young girl and nobody said anything. Bill Maher and them who hung out at the Playboy Mansion, they didn't say anything. Come to find out that she lied. Media ignored that. Then found out that she was trying to sneak drugs in for a current boyfriend. Media didn't talk about that. But a lot of y'all when y'all dismiss that to say, well, he criticized black people. He criticized white people. No, he criticized a certain segment that had been a danger to our people. So y'all cool with the drug dealers and the drug pushers. Y'all cool. I know they say drug dealers, drug pushers, the same, but you know what I meant. You cool with the baby mamas. You cool with the violence in the community. You cool with our people embracing stupidity. You cool with our people embracing laziness. That's what y'all defending. Michael Eric Dyson, when I think gave this so-called educated soliloquy, like, you know, they can't control their bullshit. Our mothers and fathers and grandparents didn't have shit. Their parents didn't have shit. They didn't use that as a crush to go out there and commit crimes or throw other people under the bus. And I know a lot of these people are not black to leave these comments and say these things. And yet, are there some criticism to be had of Bill Cosby? Yeah. But for them to allow that man and send that old man in jail when all these white men have done worse and they got actual evidence, proof, documentation, come on. And then some of y'all say, he gave women drugs. How many of you guys took a woman out to dinner and gave her liquor? Whether your intentions, and you wanted to have sex with her. Now, you didn't want to, you wasn't going to rape her, but you knew that if she felt a little bit more relaxed, more than likely you get the panties. How many women wanted their guys to do the same thing? But y'all sat back and played hypocrites. He gave them Quaaludes. He gave them a drug. But how many of y'all smoke weed? Did a little coke here and there, some heroin, ecstasy, or took a shitload of pills? Man, that black girl that they found up there in Rosemont, Illinois last year, She had got so zunked out of head, she stumbled to the elevator, went all the way down to the base level, and walked in the freezer and froze to death. See, I'm a fair-minded person. I never looked at Bill Cosby as a father figure. I never worshipped celebrity. I've never been that enamored. I've met celebrities over the years. I'm like, oh, okay, how you doing? Because a lot of them got big heads as it is. A lot of them wouldn't shake your hand or have anything to do with you if they wasn't doing it for a PR move. They don't live around those among us, and I'm not knocking them for that. That's the way you want to live. But the fact is, they have little or nothing to do with us. Bill Cosby did try to purchase NBC twice. First time in the 80s, and right when General Electric put up for sale. General Electric said, we're not selling to that old nigga. We just sell to Comcast. Literally overnight, Hollywood threw Cosby under the bus. And I'm like, y'all, don't y'all find the timing of that pretty suspicious? I can see it was a slow build up after 4 years, but literally overnight, people came out of the woodwork. Well, we heard rumors. Wait a minute, if you heard rumors, why didn't you say something or drop in the interview or make a joke then? Mr. Cosby's in jail because white guys did dirt. And all the white guys that got caught in Les Moonves and this Epstein dude, your Stephen Collins, your Charlie Sheens, and the rest of them, why they not in jail, or at least having the screws twisted? To you young brothers and sisters who don't know your history, y'all out here making memes and cracking jokes about Bill Cosby, but y'all don't realize that this shit could affect you as well. You think if they can go after a celebrity, got money, they can't come after you to have maybe no money or no resources to get a high-powered lawyer or able to have a credible defense? We have to understand, especially as black males, it don't take nothing but a second for somebody to destroy our lives. And then you got to deal with rumors for the rest of life. So if somebody put a lie, then even if you don't go to jail, it's out there floating. So if you ever get in trouble again, well, you remember years ago, he was accused of doing this. So it has to be true. We got to understand that all we got is each other. Every time we throw each other on a bus, or every time we pick and choose somebody based on popularity, based off white standards, we're gonna stab ourselves in the foot. We're gonna cut our throats. You don't have to like Bill Cosby, but you be aware of what this man has contributed. Bill Duke did an interview, and Vlad thought Bill Duke was going to go in and just throw Cosby on the bus. You can see the pain in Bill. You hear it in his voice. He said, man, Cosby did so much of the black community, and that's the problem. Y'all go out here and defend motherfuckers who don't have nothing to do with us. But Bill Cosby actually was defending. Y'all had a nerve to call. He's conservative. Why y'all say he's conservative? Because he critiqued poor behavior in the community. Make you a Republican? All the people who criticize Cosby criticize him for because they did something stupid and raunchy. Y'all letting D.L. Hughley tell y'all Bill Cosby did this, but every time D.L. he talking about he's so pro-black, but what the word? He called black people, black males, niggas. You know niggas do that. Wait a minute. Right then and there, he didn't step on this whole argument. You proved Cosby's point. Wendy Williams. You know how nasty she is and how she didn't spread rumors. And Cosby checked the ass and told her bosses. No bosses told him the ass. And she got mad. And she used her TV show. How you doing? You know, I don't know why Felicia Rashad would take up for him. You know Malcolm Jamal Warner and them, they shouldn't be taking. Oh, Bill Cosby. Mrs. Cosby, what's wrong with her? She should leave him. But you standing up, Wendell. You like a fucking fool with them fake ass breasts and your funny shit, that big ass head of yours, all that fucking horse hair on your head. When you fainted, white folks online was cracking on you. Those of us who can't stand you, even I didn't make mockery of you for. I don't take pleasure in somebody being sick. Maybe I should, but I don't. Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turnover in Entertainment Tonight was like, Cosby, you got some explaining to do. You don't say that to the white folk when they get caught doing shit. Kevin Frazier didn't say that to Les Moonves. Oh, that's right. Les Moonves is their boss. Gayle King didn't sit there and say, Les Moonves need to come. No, but you said that about Bill Cosby. See, it's easy for us to chastise our own, even our elders to a certain, and we should hold each other to a high standard, but not on a realistic standard. When you accuse somebody of rape, murder, or molestation, or bestiality, or thievery, you better have proof. And I said from day one, something about this don't smell right. Now, yeah, I'm vindicated, but Mr. Cosby's behind bars. And whether you like it or not, the black community, no, black Hollywood, with certain segments of the black community, gave white America cover. No, racist white America and opportunistic people of color cover to throw that man in jail. Emmett Till was murdered 62 years ago. No, 63 years. I'm talking about 63 years ago. Emmett Till's murderer still participated, that caused that baby's murder, is still alive. And she's older than Cosby. What's the first thing y'all heard white women and them say? Well, she's an old woman. Let her live her days. Why she get to live her days out? The bitch should be somewhere dead. The bitch should be somewhere in jail. She actually admitted that she lied. And I had told y'all way back, probably about what, 7 years now, maybe 6. In my video, I broke it down to exactly what happened. Now, I wasn't even born then, but I paid attention. I listened to what his mother said and what others have said and what makes sense. Emmett going to the store trying to flirt with the woman. He didn't grab her hand. I said even before the white woman came out and said that he didn't do none of those things. I said, so you trying to tell me that y'all think that the dudes that lived in Chicago in 1950s America had didn't know about racism, that we was up here fucking with white women like that? No, you got lynched down south and you got lynched up here. They call it lynching down there, they call it murder up here. Or no, they call it justice up here. You think that boy mama and stepfather didn't get, or other family members say, you going down south, be careful. You're going down there where things are a little bit more extreme. His cousins for years said that Emmett supposedly showed a picture of a white girl he had in his wallet. Now he could have found that. He could have known somebody, or somebody could have he could have been numerous of reasons why he had a picture of a white girl in his wallet. Now I think his mother said she didn't know he had that or not. But if he did, why would his cousins dare him to go flirt with the store owner? If he did, the cousins was wrong from there, because you knew what would have happened. Now, what happened was Emmett went into the store, and everybody knew he was from the North, because you could tell when somebody's from the North, because you dress different, you sound different. In Chicago, people say we have a distinct accent. I think more white folks have it. I don't know about black Chicago. Well, I take that back. Back then, black Chicago had a distinct tone. Right now, we sound like runaway slaves. But anyways, he went into a store, buy some gum or some whatever. She said, what you want, boy? Hurry up. He had a stuttering problem. He probably couldn't get what he wanted. His mother said to get his words, I had to whistle, make a whistle-like sound. His cousins reacted. They grabbed him. You whistled at her. And she probably heard them, and people looked at her and see what her reaction was going to be. And they made themselves look guilty running out the store down the street. And the cousins knew they should have said something to their father But they didn't. They would pretend like nothing happened, but by then, it went from Emmett buying some candy, and by him stuttering, it came out as a whistle, because his mama told that story, but they never talk about that part of the story. That night, how did they know who was who? She knew the two boys. She knew the family. She told her husband, then husband, and his half brother. You know, right? Nephew up there from up north from Chicago was in here, and I think he whistled at me, and he touched me. Cause you know they got to add on. What? Now, yeah, they were big and bad once they had a gun, but they wasn't still going to come into a black area at night, because there were black men that still took up defending themselves. So to make sure they was able to get Emmett, they went and got two other black dudes. Now that's a part of the story that they leave out, because somebody had to hold Emmett down. And you remember they said when they went there, they said she was in the truck. Some stories said she wasn't even there, but she was in the truck because she pointed out Emmett. They dropped her ass off and they took Emmett to this barn, and it wasn't that far from where my family originated from. They took that boy in that barn and beat the crap out of him. But they said he held firm. He wouldn't apologize because he didn't do anything. It wasn't because he was cocky from Chicago, because the boy literally didn't do anything. And when they realized that this boy ain't going to grovel, and they realized they beat the crap out of a little boy, they had to get rid of the evidence. They shot him in the head. They chopped up his body, and they threw him in. They said, "You throw him in the river." They gotta keep him down. So they tied a cotton gin fan to his neck. And then when he went missing, because the family already knew who took him. They knew that by the time that Emmett wasn't coming back. Emmett was dead. They knew it. His mother, in the back of her mind, when she was up with family, they knew it. It was for that white father and son fishing, seeing that boy's body float. Because if they had weighed him down, and I think a lot of people learned their lesson in the South and the North, killing black folks. They said, we ain't going to mess with, didn't do what them two white dudes did. We're going to make sure they stay down. We're going to make sure they stay buried. That's why when the three civil rights workers, they buried them the way they did. When there'll be no chance they'd be discovered, but somebody had to down them out. But at the same time, they got Emmett's body. If Emmett didn't have that ring that his daddy got from his daddy, his mom got from the remains of his father, they would have never been. They would probably never identify. Because back then they had DNA testing. They could have said it's any random body, because they was killing black folks willy-nilly, and that was the premise they tried to present. If his mother didn't have the guts to say, I want the world to see what they did to my son. If John H. Johnson of Ebony, and at that time Jet, or the Negro Digest, I think when it started called the Negro Digest, that they became Jet. If he didn't have his photographers take a photo of that, we would have never known to the extent of the brutality that child experienced. I remember the first time I saw the image. I had to be about 5 or 6, and it spooked the hell out of me. I'm tearing up now thinking about it, because I remember seeing the tears come from my father. Because my father said he was scared as a kid. They was traumatized. A lot of kids were traumatized because they knew at any moment it could have been them. Especially growing up in the South. Now, I gotta excuse me, because I think about that poor baby dying like that, and that bitch living so long, and then you have people today saying, well, she's an old woman, but Bill Cosby's younger than, a little bit, 2 years younger than her, but y'all got him in jail. He's an elderly man. He has health issues. The man is blind. He went to jail under hearsay. Emmett's mother, when you see the old footage, even the white pastor passed out. The cemetery which Emmett Till is buried, my auntie is out there. I got family and some friends that's buried out there. That's the cemetery that y'all see at the end of Cooley Eye. You know when Cochise they film for Cochise and Preacher's talking. That's awesome. Illinois. That's that scene when that cemetery scene. That's the cemetery Emmett Till is buried at. That was the only cemetery at one point where buried blacks comfortable. That and also been the one in Glenwood. And if you lived on the west or south side and back in the 1950s and 60s, that's a long trek from the city. Emmett's mother went to her grave. She died in 2003 fighting for justice for her, trying to get some sense of justice for her baby. That white reporter, that writer who promised not to dime that bitch out, he should be in jail. But the book he wrote didn't go nowhere. Got people said, we ain't buying that shit. You could have easily said, fuck that old lady. She admitted to getting that kid killed. Same thing with Trayvon Martin. He went to a damn convenience store to buy snacks for him. It would have been his brother, his adoptive brother, because his father was engaged to a woman at the time. I don't know if they still together. I think they broke up, if I'm not mistaken, because I think she the one started talking bad mouthing the family at the end of the trial with George Zimmerman, if I remember correctly. All-Star Weekend, he went to go because it was NBA halftime. He said, "I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven real quick, get a pack of Skittles because I think the kid wanted a pack of Skittles. And Trayvon got an iced tea. George Zimmerman had a fight with his wife because the rumor has he couldn't get it up. Wife caught him doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, watching a certain type of porn. Is either straight or gay, or bestiality, or trannies. So I would have to say trannies or bestiality, or gay. He couldn't get it up, so I had the argument the night before and that day. And you had to take it out on somebody. And George Zimmerman already had a history of not liking black people, but people say, well, he went on prom with a black woman. Yeah, you can get a nut from a black person, but you want to break bread with a black person. He saw Trayvon, what this little nigga doing up in here? Hey, who are you? He called him. Trayvon looked up when he was on the phone. He ran. George followed him even after the operator said, leave it alone. Let the police deal with it. George Zimmerman said, I'm tired of these coons. Remember that brother used to work for CNN who said, I know George. Came out and defended George Zimmerman. And then when everybody started criticizing all this dirt started popping out George, he ran ahead. That Negro should be somewhere stinking too. George Zimmerman couldn't handle Trayvon because he was younger and quicker. Fuck this, I'm gonna shoot this little. Shot that baby, sent him in the chest. To this day, George is out there on social media twisting that knife in the black community, bragging. Yeah, I did it and got away with it. When black folks demanded justice, people took sides. You had people in law enforcement was out there target practice of silhouettes that represented Trayvon Martin. But we forget that shit. But nah, none of them went to jail. But we'll send Mr. Cosby and cats like him to jail on hearsay. So when y'all say why I'm mentioning Cosby, it's because what happened was the same thing happened to Michael Jackson. A lot of hearsay, no evidence, no proof. And we all saw what happened to Brother Mike. He whittled away. He wasted away. He had a breakdown. He was already soft as it is on certain things. And I'm not talking about a sexual act because the brother was straight. He put on an act for a lot of people because nobody would accept a super masculine black man. Because you notice Prince didn't come out like that. Even though we knew he was getting all that ass, he went out there with that androgynous sort of look. Is he or isn't he? Remember back in the day, Joseph, remember they say is Prince gay? Is he straight? Because of the high heels, but he wore heels because of his height. which ultimately led to him having hip problems, and ultimately led him taking painkillers, which ultimately led to him dying. But I digress. We as black people got to know our history. We got to be paying attention to everything around us. Because I'm going to tell you something. You can be next. And you'll be yelling like, I need somebody to believe me. Somebody to help me. They're going to say, well, you know, there's been a lot of black guys have been accused of these crimes, so it got to be something there. Or you was accused once before, so it got to be something there. I don't know. Maybe I use logic. Maybe I see the bigger picture. But you have to admit, those of you who've been following me, I have been on point. I have warned you when there was something was going to happen, who was going to happen to, and how it would happen. See, I learned at a young age, history repeats itself. Doesn't matter how well off you are or not. Doesn't matter how smart you are or not. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, straight or gay. If they want to come get you, they're going to come get you. And we, as the men and women who are out here in black media or attempting to create black media or a cohesive think tank, however you want to think of it or brand it, we have to be able to form logical conclusions. Before Tom Mesereau started talking about the things he was talking about, I and others, and I tipped my head. I gotta brag. I was playing all that crap out. When Roseanne came out talking about Bill Cosby, I had told y'all, I said, Roseanne is racist. I said, she got some nerve to talk about Bill Cosby, but the shit she didn't say and pull. Harvey, when was Roseanne ever racist? I said, you guys need to go back and watch her show again. You guys need to go back and watch her interviews. You gotta hear the shit she's saying now. I don't see it, Harvey. Okay. When she called Valerie Jarrett a monkey or ape, whatever she did, primate, basically, just say primate. Everybody mouth hit the floor, not mine. Because I had told y'all for years, before Donald Trump decided he wanted to be a birther, and I hate the term birther, but that's what they use. I said the dude was racist. I said I remember when I watched him as a kid on Lifestyles or The Rich and Famous and other interviews that he came across very nasty and arrogant. And plus, I already knew his history that he was boycotting or making a hard time for blacks to rent. Then when he opened his casinos and the rumors going on about him stealing money and mess with black with employees and whatnot. I'm like, what else did it take for y'all to realize this dude is racist? When he did the Central Park 5, that cinched it for me. But all that, the media still gave him a wide berth. NBC gave him a show. Don Lemon used to them call in, come on the show. Larry King, Emerson Cooper. Then when he didn't need them no more, the enemy, the crooked reporters. Yeah, you lie. You at CNN, you lie. And every night, Don Lemon like a little bitch crying like, I gave Don the best ass of my life. Yeah, I said it. I gave him the best ass of my life. But you had no problem destroying Bill Cosby's name. You got on cable television called Kanye a fucking idiot. Talked about the brother like he was a dog. But you ain't called out the white artists that go around doing saying stupid things. The media will destroy you if you allow it. Look what they're doing to Kareem Hunt. All the white men that abuse their women, whether it be in baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, tennis, golf, everybody's silent. Paint the black man the villain of the story. People took extra pleasure in going after Bill Cosby, especially these so-called liberals. One of these days, karma's going to come back to those people who participate in this witch hunt. And when it happens, I will be dancing the jig. I will make a toast to their destruction. I hope to God one day all those people who are still alive, who have screwed over my people, just because they can, get theirs in the end. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen next week, next month, next year, 10, 20 years down. Or it may not happen to you, it may happen to somebody close to you. Whether I'm here to see it or not, we should enjoy it.